Hello and welcome back, everyone, to Freelancer on Rocket Rabbit Commentaries, and in this episode we'll be returning to Planet New London in order to actually start the Fuck Hovis Chronicles. Now, we were discussing Pikmin 1 and 2, and it is somewhat relevant here because if we're going to complain about linearity, then I should mention that one of Freelancer's potentially negative aspects for people is the fact that the story campaign is actually very linear, and for the most part, so is the free play campaign, as you are always trying to scale up one particular resource as your scale of progress, as well as your boats are usually a linear upgrade over each other. Like, there aren't really different class of ships in by technicality. There very much are different classes of ships, with a light fighter, a heavy fighter, very heavy fighter, and freighter. But like, you pretty much never actually want to use a freighter for the campaign, so.
Sounds like a self-imposed challenge opportunity.
And yes, future Gerdat remembers to explain why this part sucks, Mr. Annotations Gerdat. Anyway, sell off our cargo. Actually, with 45k, we might be able to get into a level 5 shield.
So I suppose one of the main advantages of using a freighter is that you can hold more cargo at a time.
Yes, unfortunately, what that actually ends up meaning specifically is, hey, do you like want to go do trade runs? Because if you're not actually doing trade runs, you're probably not gonna want to mess around with a freighter like at all.
Right, the right boat for the job.
This is a different
to Battleship Hood.
That is a different mission that we were on. So.
Yeah, stupid game graphics. It only every time you load this landscape of New London, then it only just had started raining as soon as you load it. And it comes down like a fucking curtain dropping.
All right, now we are off to Dublin. I like the Britannia storyline, and I like the New London, and I like the Britannia system. I do, or the Britannia collection of systems. But it gets very clear as we're going through this mission that we only spend like about a couple hours here outside of free play, and it's all because the rising tension and force stressors that are being placed on us for the campaign are becoming more extreme during this part of the story, as opposed to the next extreme of the story, which is a bit more relaxed, despite the fact that we have a lot more espionage happening.
So, sir, we're under attack. Oh fuck! I can't use my flight controls.
Okay, they killed all the mollies for us. Now let's get in queue.
Stop in use. Entering queue.
All right, time to get locked back into trajectory.
Yeah. The BMM stands for the Britannia Miners and Masons, I think. Or is it Britannia Minerals and Mining? I'm not entirely sure, but they are the primary trade faction for the Britannia sector, and I mean they're okay. They have more civilian weapons if you want to try some of those out. And we're automatically under attack by both Mollies and Corsairs.
Oh, we're at mid game now. We should have a reasonable expectation that anywhere we land, we're going to immediately fall under attack.
Well, we're not really quite under mid. God damn it! They interrupted our cruise missiles, our cruise engines, and
cruise control. And a second now.
Okay, the mollies are all gone, but one of these Corsairs is actively pursuing us.
Can I get on that magical tether that, like, quintuples my moving speed?
Sadly, no. We can. We never get a thruster that allows us to go over 200 kilometers an hour. But you may note, however, that because we're in space, 80 kilometers an hour is actually a really slow travel speed for space.
80 kilometers an hour is a really slow speed for traveling on the highway in the United States.
Yeah, it is.
That's roughly 65 miles per hour. You're doing the speed limit, guy. You got people tailgating you, and they're passing you on the right because they think you suck.
The Legionnaire. The big Corsair boat, that you can get at the end of the game is actually just called the Corsair. It's either the Corsair or the Eagle, and as a super heavy fighter, it is definitely worth looking into. It's not the one that I would recommend getting personally. The one that I recommend getting personally is actually the Titan, but I forget which pirate faction has got the Titan. I want to say it's the it's not the Order that's got it. No, I actually don't. I think it's the Rogues. Huh. As annotation Gerdat attempts to explain here, the mission that we're going to is bad, and not because it's pointless. We actually have a really good narrative for going over to the battleship hood, but the fucking gameplay for this is just going to be fucking infuriating to both watch and play through. Oh look, more Corsairs trying to jump us. They have successfully jumped us, Mr. Cloud.
It must be an advantage of games that take place in outer space is that hitboxes and the ever-present problem of how to resolve a physics calculation depends on having objects in the game that have said hitboxes that are supposed to, have some kind of reaction. Like in this game, if you bump into objects, a graphic comes up that says that you got hit, which is always in the corresponding direction to where the object was. Some objects get moved around a little bit. The boat that we're flying in and the object that we impact with, they get jostled around a little bit because of this game's equivalent of Newton's third law of motion. And then you run into, and honestly, it's only when you run into the asteroid void that you realize, like, this game feels a lot emptier when you're not surrounded by a bunch of objects that you can hit into, but also the emptiness of the game lends to the flow and the game speed that the game doesn't have to do a lot of work in order to make these images. Because a lot of it is just a geometry problem. Is what is the direction that you're looking in, and what are you supposed to be looking at if you're looking at said direction? And the game does this constantly, millions of calculations per second.
I do like the pictures, though. Even here, despite the fact that it's all green and smoggy, this looks like what we might be able to pretend is London in space.
London in space.
Like 1860s London in space.
I want to see like little teacups, coffee, and scones just floating around endlessly.
You would dare suggest that someone actually lost their tea set in a dogfight, Mr. Cloud?
The Great British Baking Show. That is all I have to say about that. It's not the Good British Baking Show, it's the Great British Baking Show. Also,
bounty hunters are still after us. Alright, so, repair our thruster that we picked up. Sell a bunch of the water that we picked up.
We should raise the prices because we know they're thirsty.
I'm looking for a guy named
And so we have entered the worst mission in the game. We save before you go into the bar on a battleship hood. If you don't, you will be locked here. Hey, Hovis.
So the game typically gives you a chance to save before you go to the bar.
And yes, and you should be taking that almost every chance you get. But
I really only talk to racers. Unless, of course, you are.
Yeah, you're looking for. It's so funny how, like, because nowadays autosave has become something like an expectation that is way more prevalent than what it used to be. Like, I was blown away in 2015 that Bloodborne just saves like every fucking 3 seconds. Like this is incredible. Like, I don't even think about it. But then you run into games where you do have to save, where you do run the risk of losing progress if you don't save on time. It's a lot more involved with the habit forming, but then I suppose those same habits around saving the game on time, well, then those habits would be devoted to other things. You know, like checking your inventory. Did you max out? Can you pick up more loot? Are you out of money? Do you have to get some more? Did you remember to get that upgrade you were saving up so long for, mister?
Alright, Hovis, let's go. Welcome to the race against Hovis. He is in either a dagger or stiletto, which is supposedly one of the faster ships in the game. What's actually going on here is Hovis is cheating.
I may surprise you, Hovis.
Of course. Video game racers typically cheat. They start too early, they lay down traps, they taunt you.
Don't you, hunk of junk? I built this damn thing, but its memory banks are busted. Simple rules, Bretonian. 1 round, no shooting or bumping, and if you stink it up or chicken out on the course, you'll make me angry. And you don't want
no
that.
shooting,
Yep,
huh?
we're not allowed to fire at Hovis.
Racers, on your marks.
But let me guess, Hovis is going to fire at
Eventually.
us.
I don't know if we're actually going to show that off here, though.
2, 1.
And... oh.
Alright.
Go!
So, the Fuck Hovis rant. The problem that this race actually has is that although it very explicitly expects you to be in the cruise, using your cruise engines for the entire time, you'll notice that we're drifting all the fuck over the place. This is because every single one of these rings has actually got its own center of gravity, and on the racetrack itself has yet another different center of gravity. Hovis has a different center of fucking gravity, so your boat is constantly being pushed and pulled literally every fucking where as you're trying to fly this damn thing with your cruise engines on. The boat does not handle this fucking poorly during the majority of the rest of the game while you're running the cruise engines. And your cruise engines will just randomly fucking cut out during sections of the race. And you'll notice that Hovis is now a full 3 points ahead of us because our cruise engines just fucking cut out, and I don't have a good spot to re-engage them.
My grandma's faster than you, Bretonian.
Fuck this section. It does not fucking work. And no, it is not supposed to be this way at all. Very explicitly, you're supposed to be able to more or less glide through these sections, and although there is supposed to be some amount of gravity that's fucking you over, your cruise engines are definitely not supposed to cut out, and you're supposed to be able to keep pace with Hovis for a good portion of the time. And this is what happens. If you're any more than about 4 places behind Hovis, you just immediately lose the race.
Get back to the start point.
Well, that's good. At least the race will just spare you the agony of finishing a lost race. You already know you can't keep up.
Oh, but it doesn't, Mr. Cloud. You get 2 tries.
2, 1.
And what happens if you blow it on the second try?
If you blow the second one, you get a game over, pushing you all the way back to the battleship. It's why we saved after we talked to Hovis, because that is the last time that you have to attempt to skip a small amount of the cutscenes here. Because yes, if you get a game over, Hovis will do the reintroduction cutscene each time you come out, and you can't skip that one.
Yeah, that's pretty annoying. Well, yeah, I noticed there's a lot of wasted motion just
trying to re-fucking center my boat.
It's really peculiar. So, like, yeah, because my eyes, as I'm watching the ship fly through, like, it anticipates the boat is just going to go right through the ring, but no, right before you enter the ring, it's like a fucking magnetic field is pushing you out of the way.
And
it's
this
weird.
happens every single fucking time you do this race, to the point where...
So we almost didn't even make it that time.
Hovis has the lead.
Like, give me the restart button.
But we did
Menu.
we did actually manage to keep up with Hovis enough for one of the other narrative things happen. Hovis just turns his pirate band on us at the last section of the race. So yes, now for the final couple of turns, you're being fired at by these weapon platforms. Hovis himself isn't fighting you, but all of his pirate friends are. Fuck this segment. In the next episode, we're skipping this. Be safe.